Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 92. So far today I'm looking at more C++ stuff, and for this one basically I'm looking at pointers. So far the video I've been watching just been going over pointers and stuff like that too, so again just basically use this as a review and everything like that. So going to get the main space set up and everything stuff too and all. Main space STD, so I have to keep typing out every time. Alright, so basically the main thing I got from this with the pointers is that there are two things. Something called the stack and something called the heap. Basically the stack, what that is when we make a pointer, if we're not really specific, it will just grab a random space and just put information into it. So basically with that, if we use the stack, we really don't have full control over where things go. It would just go in a different place every time, and I think it said that can sometimes maybe lead to like problems if you're doing something really specific. I'm not really sure. And the heap, basically we can control that so everything keeps going into the same pointer as long as you just delete what's in there. So basically we'll just go ahead and like start off with like putting something in the stack and everything, just messing around with that. So basically we'll just make a pointer and stuff like that too. Basically just declare it. Then you put a star and then make a variable name. So we'll call this one int var, and it'll equal null ptr. Basically what this is we declared a variable. This star right here, we put that to basically let it know that this is going to be a pointer. And basically this star, we don't have to put it exactly here. We can just put like a space. It can be right in the middle, or it can be like right next to here. It doesn't really matter. I usually just put it right next to it. Just, you know, do whatever you want. And basically null pointer basically lets the system know that the pointer we picked basically should have like, it lets it know that this right here, the pointer, that this is a pointer and it should hold this space and stuff and all that for information we want to put in there. That's basically what I got from the video. That's like the main thing of it. And then from there, we can just make a variable. So let's say int number equals, and just say like 22. And then from there, we get the pointer and we put the number into there. So basically we'll just say int var equals, you have to put an and sign and say number. And with this pointer now contains number. So I have to make sure I have the and sign here to know it's taking this variable and putting it inside the pointer. And from here we can just like print out so we can just see what's in it. So we'd say the pointer location is, and we'll say int var, and then do another one, cout, the pointer contains, and then just put a star here, say int var, the int l. So basically again with this right here saying the pointer location is, and then we just put the variable, so int var of the pointer. And then if we want to know what's actually inside the pointer, we need to put this star right here so we know what's inside of it. So we just run it real quick. And yeah, this right here says the pointer location is, and this is the space right here. And then it contains 22. Basically, if we do something like this, so if I make another variable real quick, say int number 2 equals, and let's say it's 87. And then we say the pointer int var equals and sign number 2. And then we print out the same thing. Let me just do this real quick. Put a space so we'd be able to see. Basically, I just copy this and we run it again. Yeah. So basically with this, we can see again it has the position and everything and stuff here of the pointer. Basically just pay attention to the ending right here. It says CD4 and it contains 22. Then basically all we did was just use the exact same pointer, but just put something else in it to replace what we had up here. And right here, since the pointer location is, and it's a completely different pointer. This one has a 4, this one has a 0. So it's a completely different location. And it contains what we wanted to put in there, 87. That's the whole thing with working with the stack. We don't really get control over the location of the pointer. Because you would think like we're using the exact same pointer, so it'll be the exact same location. And then just what's in it is different. It doesn't work that way when you're using the stack. So far, there's a way to use the heap and all that, but we'll look at that later. Just right now, just keep messing around with the stack before we mess with the heap. So far with this, we can also do this with characters as well. So I'm going to do something real quick. I can just hit Control F. And with this, I can just search for all things said int. Replace it with car. And with that, I can just replace all. So everything is switched over, so I don't have to like manually go through it. The only difference is this up here. This should be int. Because if not, the program won't run. The other thing I want to do is everything that says number. So basically this variable right here, all these variables, I want to switch them to say letter. There we go. So we just changed our variables and stuff like that too. So we can make sure we got everything changed and there's no problems with that. Just close this real quick. So basically again with this, it's the exact same thing, except the only thing we're just changing is instead of a number in here, we'll put a letter. So let's say A. This should not be double quotes, should be a single quote. And then here, we'll just change it so it's a C. And that's mostly it. Again, just same thing. Made a character pointer and stuff up here. Called it, char var. It's null. We put letter and stuff inside. We made a variable called letter. Put A inside of it. Got the pointer. And we put the letter A inside of it. So it should say that. Then we made another variable called letter 2. Put a C into it. And then we change, the pointer should be the same, but we just changed what was inside of it. And it should print it out. So let's take a look. I have no idea what that sound was. Or if y'all could even hear that. But basically what happened was this. So basically with this right here. Yeah, the Control F changing thing. Yeah, I changed pointer to this. Kind of misspelled it. But still, basically same thing. It means pointer. Just. But yeah, it says the pointer location is and has this. Basically, I don't really know why it comes out like that. It's just a weird thing that happens. It might just be with the compiler I'm using. I have no idea. But basically says the location is this. Contains an A. And then so right here says a different location because it has kind of different symbols and stuff with it. Saying C. So with that, just a matter of, again, using this, messing with the stack. So it's picking different locations. We really don't have control over it too much. So that's the whole thing and stuff with that. Another thing and stuff too is, we'll just delete this whole bottom part here. We can also put strings inside of this. So I'm going to have to kind of do something a bit different here. Basically erase these. And the main thing we just do is this. So we make a pointer, character, put a star, call it character var. And instead of null pointer, what we'll do is this. Just put a double quote and we say something like hello world. And then from there, we have to do one other thing too. With using a string literal in a pointer, we have to say const. So this has to be constant. We can't change it. That's the only thing. If you use a string inside of a pointer, it has to be that whatever string you put in, you can't change it later. So that's the only thing. This is good for if you don't want it to be changed at all. But go and run it real quick. Yeah, so far this is the whole thing and stuff with it too. So again, right here it says, and I didn't change this, but it says the pointer location is, then it shows hello world. And then the pointer contains H. With this, it is kind of a bit backwards from with an integer or a character. Because basically normally this right here will be what's inside the pointer, while this is the pointer location. But with a string literal, it does it kind of the other way around. So it's kind of a thing that just like, make sure you just pay attention to when you're doing it. But yeah, that's the whole thing with that too. Just if you're using a string literal in a pointer, You have to have constant. You won't be able to change it later. So this is good if you just don't want someone to change what's in there. You just keep that, and that's mostly it. So far, the next thing and stuff after this is basically just the heap. So let me just go ahead and delete all this. And basically, with the heap, as I said before, that's something we have control over. We can kind of control. Basically, once you get a pointer, we can put something in it. Then we can delete the data and put something else inside that exact same pointer. It won't be in a different location. So I'll just go ahead and like start making, we'll just do the same thing. So int, put a star, doesn't really matter. We say int var equals null ptr. And then here we just say int var, so the pointer and stuff up here, equals new int. And then from here, we can just put the number in there if we want to. So we can just say like 34. And then from there, we just go and like just print it out and everything and stuff too. So say cout and just say, pointer location is, then just say int var in L. We can just copy it and just make some changes. So I'm going to type it all out again. They just say the pointer contains, they would just put a star right here. And this right here basically should just give us the pointer location and what's inside of it. So let's run it. Yep, so it says the pointer location is 0x and then all these numbers, contains 34. So far, something we have to do after we use this is, if we want to put something else inside of this space, we're going to have to clear what's inside of the pointer and set it back to null. So we're going to have to do this. So we say delete and then int var. Then we say int var equals null ptr. Doing this again clears out the pointer. So this clears the pointer out. And this sets it back to empty. So it just knows to hold that space. There's nothing in it. And then from there, we can basically do the same thing again. Just say int var equals new int. And let's say this one is this number here. And from there, we can print it out again. Let me just do this. Put a space. And we can just copy and put it down here. So from here, we can run it and just like see what's up. Yes, so this right here. It says the pointer location, and then it has a pointer location right here. Contains 34. So the first thing we had in there. Then pointer location is, and it's the exact same pointer location, but it contains a different number. So far, this is the main thing and stuff too. That's the difference between using the stack and the heap. So far, using the heap, we basically can control that it's using the exact same pointer we originally made space and stuff for. If we use the stack, we don't really have control over that whatsoever. So because of that, just kind of better use the heap and we can control it way more. So that's really the whole main difference with that. So far, when it comes to using the character or like a string, it gets really iffy with this. With a string, you literally can't do this because you have to use constant. So it won't really be able to change and stuff like that too. And with a character, it will work, but the thing is the pointer doesn't necessarily say it's in the right place. It might be because of the compiler I'm using, I don't know, but I can just like do it just to show what happens real quick. So I'll just control F, and from here just say find int, replace with car, and change this back to int. Same thing, it is pointer again. And with this, let's just say instead of 34, it's A. Instead of this number, we'll just say it is C. So if I run this, basically, let me just close this. If I run it, again, it would work. But you see things get kind of weird because the location is A, has A. Location is CAI with a symbol and then C. So that might be something weird with the compiler. I don't really know with that. At most, I know it definitely works with int and double. But when it comes to character and stuff, I don't really know. A string, it won't work because, again, with a string, you have to have it set to constant and you can't change it. So basically, you're probably better off using a stack or an array with that and stuff. I can just show it again just to see what happens. So I just put like hello, hello. Change this to world. Run it. And yeah, it says invalid conversion, constant character to character. So we need like constant there. It won't work. So it's like a big problem and stuff with that too and all. Just, again, because really I have to put like that one line that I had before with everything. And with that, again, that's mostly more of the stack, not really with the heap. So, again, that's just the whole thing stuff with this too and all. Where it's like, again, using the heap, I at least see how to use it with an int and a double. But with a character and a string literal, I think you have to use the stack the other way I showed earlier. And that's mostly it for that and everything too. There's one more thing to really go over, and that is basically using pointers with an array. So far with this, basically start off with just like making something called, int size equals, let's just say 10. This is going to be the size of the array. Then from there, we'll make a pointer. So we'll just say rvar. Just why not? It will equal new int. Then from here, I'm pretty sure we put. Let me just look at my notes here because this one gets kind of weird with how you have to do it. So let me look at my notes real quick. Yeah, so with this, you basically have to put in the size of the array and then the array. So basically with this, I would do this. So size, and then from here, I'll put in the array itself. So I just put in like 10 things. So just put stuff in there. This. And then from there, I basically print it out. Basically how the video had it, it just put if, and then I'll just go ahead and fill it out. So basically if, so rvar, basically this right here is to basically check to make sure it's like null, I think, or to make sure there's something in it. I'm not really sure. The person just kind of used it. And then from there to print out, we use a for statement. And the one thing they said was we can't use auto for loops. Basically meaning like where before we just had it so it just like read the array, saw the size of it, and just printed it without us having to specify how big it was. It says we can't do that and stuff like that. So I'll just believe it and just, basically do it the way the video showed me everything. So just int I equals 0, I size plus I. And then from here, we do cout and say, say array position. And then from there, we just put this. So this just gets the position of the array. And then from there, we'll say, and then from there, we'll just print out what's inside of it. So I have to put star, parentheses, and basically just say rvar plus I and L. So basically what this is it would say the array position. And this is the array position right here. So wherever it is around here. and then from there it's just the star, so what's inside the array and what's inside the position at I. So basically here we can just run it and just see if it works. Yep. So here array position 1 contains 1, 2 contains 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 10. Basically, if we just change some stuff to make sure it's working, just to make sure the numbers aren't exactly, you know, it's not printing the same thing out twice, so just run it out. Sometimes the compiler just doesn't work sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so it is kind of messing up here and everything too. So basically saying position 1 is printing out 125, so it is kind of messing up and everything here too. So give me a second real quick. I'll look at my notes, see what's up. Okay, so basically I figured out what was up. Basically, again, in the video I watched, they just used this, and basically just used normal 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that. When, again, I really didn't check. I was just trying to figure out what this was. Basically, here's all I have to do. Just use I, and that's it. So, yeah, so position 0 all the way to 9, so the whole thing with that. Yeah, so again, that video, they just kind of like did it real quick, and I guess they just messed up just because they had it set to 1, 2, 3, 4. Really, you couldn't tell it was like messed up until, like, again, I just tested it now, so that's the thing I have to mess around with in my notes. The other thing and stuff too is if I just erase some of these numbers and run it. Yeah, it basically does this. It will set the empty spaces to 0. So again, we have 10 spaces, and it just set the rest of them to 0. So that's the whole thing and stuff there as well and stuff too with making an array and using a pointer and everything. So far, again, that's the whole thing I learned with pointers. And to be honest with you, again, I learned about the stack and heap at the very least. That's something like I was mentioned about, like something I was mentioned in school, but again, they just kind of went through it real quick, didn't really elaborate on what was the importance of it too much. They were just like, see how much a computer has to go through and everything. That's really it. But again, just at least I got to learn what this was finally. The other thing, though, I do have a question for is I don't really know when I would use this stuff. Cause I guess it's something like I don't know if I'll use a pointer like in every project to like keep control of, like, space so my projects don't take up as much space or something. I have no idea. But it's a matter of like I'm guessing it's something for very specific projects. Like if I'm working with like C, I think I really have like no idea. So just it's something I learned, something I can at least like have in my back pocket. I just don't know when I really would use this. I'm guessing it's for something really specific and not just all the time use. Maybe I really don't know. So just again, if somebody's watching this and can tell me, I would gladly like to know. But yeah, beyond that, that's really it. So to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.